It is now my pleasure to introduce our LL.M class speaker. Letlhogonolo Mokgoroane is a UCLA Law Sonke Health and Human Rights Fellow. He earned his LL.B. from Stellenbosch University in 2013, serving as a tutor and as an on-campus residence academic mentor. He co-founded the First Generation Camp, which ensures that first-generation university students are well-equipped with the skills they needed to succeed. Following graduation, Letlhogonolo completed his articles and was appointed as an associate at Bowman Gilfillan in Johannesburg, and then clerked at the Constitutional Court of South Africa. He is a co-creator of Cheeky Natives, a literary podcast that reviews arts and literature of Black authors and other creatives. Please welcome the LL.M class speaker, Letlhogonolo Mokgoroane.
Wow. Good afternoon. What a name, right? Letlhogonolo Mokgoroane. When I think about the weight of my name, I'm always reminded of the words of Wasan. She writes, "Give your daughter difficult names. Give them names that command the full use of the tongue." My name indeed commands the full use of the tongue, Letlhogonolo. It is a name that was given to me by my mother. It means blessing in Setswana, my mother's tongue and my home language. As I share these reflections, I hope that I will be a Letlhogonolo in your life this afternoon. On 31 July 2017, like many of my colleagues in the LL.M program, I left Johannesburg and started a 27-hour journey to the University of California in Los Angeles. This day was monumental in that it marked the first step of making my dreams become a reality. After this lengthy 27 hours, I entered LAX and, like many of you today, saw the sign, "Welcome to the United States." This felt like a moment from the movie Coming to America. I just didn't have my regal attire like James Earl Jones. 9 August was the first day of our orientation at UCLA School of Law. As you've heard, our LL.M class has about 195 students from 33 different countries. We were like a United Nations of sorts. All of us had traveled across the world to seek an education, and we were taking our shot at life. UCLA is a beautiful space. It literally looks like those universities we see in the movies. Heck, I bet it is those universities we see in the movies. Forgive me, I grew up on American television. We spent a week long learning about American law. I mean, who would have thought that the federal system is different from the state system? But it is. Once we were well-oriented, we all began our studies and our various specializations. On a sunny day in October, 2 months into my program, I received a call from South Africa that my mom had passed away unexpectedly. This news was absolutely devastating. I was very fortunate that when I received the news, I was at the International Graduate Office, where Sydney sat with me and while I cried and attempted to process this deep grief. The Graduate Office, Vic, Lara, Tiffany, Sydney, and Deidre are incredible. Within minutes, the logistics of my flight back home were arranged and my professors would be notified of this tragic news. The next day, I embarked on the hardest journey of my life, 27 hours traveling back to South Africa all by myself. It was a brutal and lonely time for me. I cried in airports, in flights, had to constantly alert people to not be concerned if they see me cry. It was the worst 27 hours of my life. And I'm certain that many of you have also faced similar challenges while you were embarking on this LL.M program. I went to South Africa, I attended my mom's funeral, and then returned to resume my studies. which was an incredibly difficult decision to make. But I believe not returning would not have honored her memory and her legacy. During the preparations of the funeral, I received emails and texts from a number of people at the law school, including professors and some of you sitting here today. I'm certain that I've thanked you before, but I want to acknowledge you publicly. Thank you for holding me when I couldn't hold myself. Some professors and friends can attest to the number of times I wanted to leave and go back home. This hasn't been an easy journey, but we're here today, graduating. It really took a village to get here, LL.Ms. It really took you for us to get here. So thank you to you, my friends here and back home, for seeing me. I am certain that this LL.M program has equipped each of us with various skills, ranging from entertainment law to the public interest law. Most of us here were taught by the most renowned professors in their field. I'm certain that our friends and families cannot wait to hear about all the amazing people we've met and the amazing skills we've acquired. LL.Ms, congratulations. Give yourself a round of applause. You've done so extremely well. This place has also allowed us to create meaningful connections with people around the globe. I hope that the friendships we've developed here will continue for years to come. The LL.M program has really equipped me with the necessary skills that I need to continue to be the lawyer I know I am and can be. It has challenged me to think deeply about what it means to seek justice for marginalized people. I've had the wonderful opportunity of taking classes with incredible professors. Due to time, I will only lift the names of a few, but I could write a book about how amazing each of these professors have been. I was privileged enough to take classes with founding and leading scholars in critical race studies. I took 2 classes with Professor Cheryl Harris, whose work has informed a lot of my thinking prior to coming to UCLA. She was awarded the Rata Award for Excellence in Teaching earlier this year. I was happy and honored to be here at a moment where a Black woman was honored for her years of excellence. When she accepted her award, I thought of the words of the radical visionary Angela Davis, who has also taught at UCLA. She writes, Black women have had to develop a larger version of society than perhaps any other group. They've had to understand white men, white women, and Black men, and they've had to understand themselves. When Black women win victories, it is a boost for virtually every sector of society. In addition to Professor Harris, I had the wonderful opportunity of taking a class with Professor Devin Crobado, whose classes have challenged me in many ways. His classes have allowed me to really think deeply about scholarship, race, power, and activism. I've also had the wonderful opportunity of working with Professor Tandai Achume, who was named the UN Special Rapporteur for contemporary forms of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance in November 2017. She's the first woman, the first person from Southern Africa to be in this role since it was created. I always left conversations with Professor Achume feeling empowered and heard. She allowed me to satisfy my intellectual curiosities. Please raise your hand if you've heard the term intersectionality. That's good. In more recent years, the term has made its way into the woke mainstream. It was brought into the legal purview by Professor Kimberly Crenshaw, who penned a formative piece in 1989 to capture the precarious experiences of Black women and women of color in the law. Professor Crenshaw taught me civil rights, and I was excited every single week to go to that class. Her teachings were illuminating and insightful. I also had the wonderful opportunity to talk to her on one of the episodes of the podcast my friend and I run. To tell you the conversation was amazing is an understatement. Honestly, I do not think that the English language has a word to describe this conversation. Honestly, like most LL.Ms, I will look back at my time here and know that it is one of the best decisions that I've made in my adult life. This experience has been everything I've wanted it to be and more. I also want to honor the Black women who raised me. I stand here because of their hard work and their sacrifices. These Black women grew up in a not so distant part of our history. They grew up in apartheid South Africa, a system classified by the United Nations as a crime against humanity, a system that deprived them of an opportunity to obtain any meaningful education, a system that deemed them less because of the color of their skin. A history very similar to many parts of the world. Although South Africa has been a democracy for some 20 years, Black women continue to be displaced, discriminated, and oppressed. Under my gown, I'm wearing a t-shirt with the names of my mother, Bandus, my aunt, Kokosi, and my grandmother, Mapu, who have all passed away. I'm wearing this t-shirt as a reminder that they are here too, because coming to Los Angeles and obtaining this world-class education is indeed my ancestors' wildest dream. As my time comes to an end at UCLA, I envision for myself, and I hope you envision for yourself, a future where you can use these skills that you've acquired here. It is our quest to be part of building and creating the kinds of justice that uses intersectionality and reproductive justice as frameworks for law reform. One of the biggest challenges will be to define what justice means for Black people and queer people. The challenges faced by myself and my peers are still very much a result of white supremacy, capitalism, and patriarchy. I often wonder, and I'm filled with immense sadness, that people who look like me, with a story similar to mine in this chapter of American history, are alienated by society and the system. The current political and global atmosphere is one that alienates and seeks to erase people who look like me. Poverty is shamed. Dreamers have endured hostile laws and deportations. Black people are killed daily. Black men, Black women, Black queer people. And their stories and contributions to this world, to this country, continues to be erased. Before I leave, I'd like to do a call and response to actually everyone here. When I shout Amandla, you shout Awethu. Amandla! 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 This is a slogan we use in South Africa as a daily reminder of our collective strength. Amandla means power. Awethu means it is ours. We have the power to address the injustices of our society. Equipped with this degree, we are able to do more for ourselves and our countries. May we constantly and deliberately examine the intersections of race, gender, socioeconomic status, and the impact of these multi-locality as we go forth into the world. We have the power to change our futures for the better. Amanda! Thank you.
Each year, the graduating class selects a Professor of the Year. This year, we've selected Professor Patrick Goodman. It's no surprise that Professor Goodman was chosen. His dedication to excellence in teaching is unparalleled. In the classroom, his innovative teaching methods eschew traditional reliance on casebooks and the Socratic method in favor of active debate and real-world simulations. But more impressive than his dedication to his teaching is his dedication to his students. As a former teacher, I can honestly say that I've never seen an educator so invested in his students' well-being. His eyes light up when a kid gets an answer right in class, and his door is always open to the law school student who feels overwhelmed. He's a mentor and a counselor. And more personally speaking, over the past 3 years, Professor Goodman has not only shown me how to succeed as a law school student, but how to enter the legal profession with integrity, diligence, and compassion. Please join me in congratulating Professor Patrick Goodman, the 2018 UCLA Law Professor of the Year.
Thank you, Brianne. And thank you to the class of 2018 for this great honor. Thank you to SBA for administering the Professor of the Year poll to the students before final exams, when you still liked us. Thanks also to my parents, my brother, my wife Samantha, my 2 kids, Benjamin and Max, all of whom are here today, right over there. I see you. Thank you so much for your support. First, I want to congratulate this amazing group of students. You've made it right up to the finish line, and you're moments away from crossing over it. Behind you, you leave behind so many memories. Memories of reading, so much reading. Memories of being assigned like 70 pages of reading a night, and then reading those 70 pages very closely, taking excellent and careful notes for the next day's discussion, and doing this night after night, and then realizing sometime during your second year that we're not going to actually go over this in class, are we? Think about how much you've grown since those early days. Memories. Memories like being overwhelmed with hunger because you skipped that excellent Louval breakfast to make it to your morning class on time. And after your morning class is over, you only have 20 minutes to eat lunch before your next class. So you rush over to Louval for lunch, and you look at all the choices, and then you realize, you know, I'm not actually that hungry. Roadside sauce, right? Memories of that time you were in class, and the professor was really getting into the lecture and building up a head of steam, and you went to check Facebook on your phone, but you accidentally held the button too long and turned on Siri instead. And right then the professor paused, so Siri woke up and said, "Sorry, I can't understand what you're saying," with that loud, churlish voice of hers. And for that amazing moment, technology truly came to the classroom, as all the students in the room were grateful as one for the courageous little computer who dared to speak up and say what the humans could not. Sorry, that memory's oddly specific. You know who you are. I never will find out, I suppose. Memories. Memories of meeting some of the best friends you'll ever have, and who will now be your friends for life. Memories of great insights you've developed about yourself and about the world, and of moments of great personal growth. Memories of being a Bruin, and for being a student just one more time. I'm so very privileged to have been invited into this intensely personal process of yours. It's so easy to have a wonderful time teaching at UCLA. It's truly the best job in the world. Every day I'm surrounded by students with amazing character and intellect and courage. Courage enough to ask me directly during office hours, what commercial outline should I buy if I want to understand your class? That's real courage. You are among the most amazing and accomplished people our society has to offer. And now we have the great fortune that you're going to be our newest lawyers. We all thank you. No matter what kind of lawyer you choose to be, we desperately need you to be good at it. And I have no doubt that you will be. I firmly reject the notion that students today aren't like they used to be, like in the good old days. I believe it's just the opposite. I see it every day, and I think back to my years growing up and my years in law school. You are much more just towards others than we were. You're more kind to each other than we were. You're more interested in equality of opportunity for all than we were. You're more ready to fight for what you believe in than we were. For nearly half a century, Americans of my generation and older have struggled to figure out what that hashtag symbol is for. And you solved that problem. I used to call it the tic-tac-toe symbol for years, right? Okay. And why should all of us here be so proud that this amazing group of students have chosen to be lawyers? Why do we all need you to be the best possible lawyers no matter what you choose to do with your degrees? Because lawyers actually only succeed by being truth tellers. And that might be a surprise to some of you in the audience, I know, and what we think about lawyers, but let's think about that for a moment. Lawyers are truth tellers. Not only do the rules of professional responsibility forbid us from lying in court or to your client, it also happens to be a really ineffective and bad idea. The better lawyer is the lawyer who wields truth more effectively. And today, I'm sorry to say that that remains more of a radical concept than it should be. For some, even some in positions of great power, this is not the way the world works for them. Power for some includes the ability to force others to accept what truth is, without having to defend it on the merits. But by choosing to be a lawyer, by committing to ethical advocacy based on truth as an officer of the court, you're committing what today constitutes a radical act. Let's not kid ourselves. In popular American culture for many decades, lawyers were portrayed heroically as defenders of basic American values. But in recent decades, portrayals of lawyers as villains have become much more common. But as one of my students, Mariah Volk, observed in Law and Popular Culture class, in 2018, this is changing. People are once again starting to see lawyers as our new heroes. More people are applying to law school again. The numbers have suddenly shot way up. More people are watching the news and reading newspapers to follow what lawyers are arguing and what judges are deciding. And no matter what side of the political divide you might be on, more people are relying on lawyers to at least safeguard the truth in courtrooms, in private civil matters, among marginalized communities, even at airports, ports of entry. And knowing that this group of amazing students will soon be joining the legal profession fills me with great hope. I feel privileged to help welcome this amazing and accomplished group of students to this profession, especially at this time. And I thank you for this tremendous honor. So congratulations to the class of 2018, and thank you very much.
A giant thank you to all of our speakers for their incredibly wise and passionate words. I'm so proud that these are a few of our future lawyers. Today, they and all of our graduates become members of our UCLA Law alums, now more than 17,000 strong. In fact, as each graduate leaves the stage today, a member of our Alumni Association will give them a UCLA Law alumni pin.